Hello and welcome to College Theater Auditions presented by Playbill and The Growing Studio. I'm Danny George. Every Friday, I sit down with different musical theater colleges and we discuss their programs. Every Monday and Wednesday, I'm joined by different directors, choreographers, music directors, composers, you name it. For all the up-to-date information on everything that we're doing, please check us out on Instagram. It's at Playbill and at The Growing Studio. I have two guests today from two wonderful schools. One of them is Montclair State University, and the other is my alum, Boston Conservatory. It's my alma mater. Hello.
Hello.
How you guys
Great.
doing?
Good to be here.
So happy to be here.
It's so good to see you guys. So we're going to get started. If any of our viewers have any questions on Facebook or YouTube, just go ahead and leave a comment and we will bring some of you onto the broadcast today to ask live, which is very exciting. So my first question, can you tell us a little bit about what you do at your universities?
Michelle, would you like to go first?
Sure, I'm happy to go first. Thank you. Well, I'm the head dance for the musical theater department, and I also direct and choreograph a number of shows that we've put on. It's going to be an interesting year this year. I've been on faculty for over 20 years, which is, I know, crazy to think about. But I know I get to see people like Danny, and I get
Yeah, but you still look like a student, Michelle.
Don't stop moving. That's what I say to everybody. But I'm on the audition tour, so I get to see a lot of people along the way. So I love being part of all of it.
And I've been at Montclair for 8 years after teaching in a couple of other musical theater BFA programs. But before that, I was a Broadway guy in New York about 20 years and did shows in New York and all over the country. And I think, as with a lot of programs, we're happy to say that all of our faculty are working professionals who continue to work. We, of course, shamelessly exploit our proximity to New York, being 13 miles west. And we get students involved right from the get-go, get them on stage the first year, and bring in a lot of guest artists, people from the industry who are currently working all over, so that we build a network for the student during their 4 years with us.
Thank you. I'm going to ask a question that everyone wants to know. How do we get into Montclair and Boston Conservatory? Mark, I'll let you start.
Okay, so I have to say, I think more and more over the years, what we're powerfully drawn to are people who are originals, who are not sort of musical theater machines copying people who've already made a success. We're really looking for special talent, people who are very individual, even diamonds in the rough. We are not necessarily looking for the most polished, but we're looking for the most specific, interesting people we can find. So I would say that, combined with preparation and loving your work, even if you're nervous as hell, because we all understand nerves, but we're really drawn to those qualities. Oh yeah, and practice.
Michelle, same question.
Yeah, like Mark, I mean, we're not looking for cookie cutters. We're not looking for anybody to be anything that they think we want them to be. We want you to be yourself. I know everybody throws the word authentic around, but it's still a great word. We really want you to be you. And I like to look at the people who are watching people audition during my dance calls, because I really get to see, like, what, you know, how are you going to be in the room? Are you going to be the person who's just like looking at somebody because you're learning from them, which I think is so important just in life, you know, be aware of your surroundings. I think that when students audition for a BOCO, they really feel like they're being heard and being seen. And that's why I believe, you know, even though we're a bigger program, I believe that people come in and they feel like they're being heard and seen as while they're there too, that they're just not, you know, you look like so-and-so, so we're going to turn you into so-and-so. That's not what it is. You are you, and we're going to make you the best you want to be. Like, you might come in thinking that you're, like a dancer, and we're going to say, you're also an actor, you're also a singer. You're like, don't limit yourself. You're also somebody who's going to, maybe study Alexander and go into voice and speech or create your own business. So I think it's really important that when you're auditioning for the school, we get to see a sense of who you are, because you might not even know some things that that are in there, and we can kind of start noticing it and like kind of fixing those flowers, making that flower arrangement beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you mentioned the dance portion of the call. Can you talk a little bit about the dance program at your schools and what that dance audition looks like?
Was that to me? I'm sorry.
Yeah, let's start with you. That'd be great.
Well, pre-COVID, we have 8 levels of dance, and basically audition every year for your placement. So we don't put you in a class according to what year you're in. We put you into your dance levels according to your ability. And we have ballet, musical theater, jazz, hip hop, tap. And then students can also take Pilates and Alexander and different courses. But also there's a lot of movement classes that are happening in their acting classes too. So, I mean, you're basically like buy sweatpants as opposed to business suits when you come to the conservatory. You're dancing or moving all day and expected to like be, just be present in everything you're doing. Now, since COVID, we are now going to make our classes much smaller. There are no more than 10 people in a room, and working out a schedule right now of, trying to keep the same core together the whole entire time. We're calling it cohorts. And so you might be with a group of freshman cohorts that are all, or first, we don't say freshmen anymore, but first years, that are all of about the same ability. So we could try to move those cohorts around. So you're not, we have students that have studied at School of American Ballet, and some people who are like, what is first position? We're not gonna put those two people together in a class, So, but yeah, we're planning on being on campus and doing our dance classes on campus in very small cores of 8 to 10 students.
And do you have to be a strong dancer to be accepted into BOCO? Do you find that there are students that are coming that are not strong dancers that leave being strong dancers?
Absolutely. You do not have to be a dancer. In fact, the majority of students that come in are not strong dancers. They, when I look at the questionnaire and they say like, how much dance do you have? And people are like, I've been in a lot of shows. I'm like, well, it's not really like how much dance you have. But yes, I mean, I can name dozens of people who started at level 1 and they were, barely doing a tendu and then leaving and booking a Broadway show, right away. So it's your will. It's if you want to do it and you want to work hard, you'll get the training you want and the training that you need.
We're quite similar, and in fact, we're approaching COVID in a similar way with cohorts and very small in-person instruction, small numbers in class. In terms of dance, we similarly have probably 8 levels in jazz, maybe 6 in tap now. And you're placed according to your level when you enter. You'll take a placement class right away. Often, if somebody's had a lot of dance, they would be moved into the ballet classes in the dance program. And we now have one of the top 5 performance BFAs in dance in the country. So they're pretty formidable classes. But we have quite a few majors going directly into those. But we also accept a lot of students who don't really think of themselves as dancers yet, who become the kind of dancers who are getting work on Broadway and national tours. So if you happen to look on the website at the curriculum, you'll see the minimum amount of dance that's required. Most of our students are taking about 3 times that, or about 3 dance classes every semester. And because we accept about 20 students as freshmen and we keep those 20, we don't cut, it guarantees small classes through the entire degree, which is really important in dance because you need a lot of one-on-one attention and adjustment. So we're pleased that our students are out there working as BOCO students are. It's the best proof of what we're both up to, I think. I should say too that really all of our MT dance faculty, when they're not teaching for us, are teaching at Steps and Broadway Dance. And so a lot of our students, while they're still in school, are going into New York and taking classes with those teachers and with their colleagues, often at a discounted rate, which is a great benefit to them. So they're really understanding professional classes while they're still in college.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I want to talk about the most important movement of today, and that's Black Lives Matter. I want to learn what you're doing at your institutions to make it a stronger and better place and a more comfortable place for people of all races to learn, and how you are working to bring more Black students to your programs.
I'll jump in. We, interestingly, quite by accident, we were a little ahead, and by that I only mean there was a group of very motivated students of color who came to me and a couple of other colleagues early last year and said, we want more of a voice, we want more of a forum, not only to air grievances, but to think creatively about casting, about theater's responsibility to people of color. And so we created a big open discussion forum in the early winter, and we had professional guests come in, and we had professional moderators involved, which then led to a showcase, which led to another discussion forum, which led to a Zoom in response to Black Lives Matter. And it's been really exciting that our students really led the way here, and that they're teaching us, and that we've expressed a great openness and are creating ways in which we can work with them to better the climate. If you look at our incoming class, we're more than 50% people of color this year, which is very exciting. The faculty is also getting training over the summer, because we realize we need to be educated and we need to keep up in ways that perhaps had snuck up on us. So we're currently very involved in addressing inequities in theater practice today.
I'm unmuting now.
Sounds fantastic.
I just came in, so I thought, oh my God, in case she barks, I'm gonna unmute myself. No, Mark, that sounds so wonderful at Montclair, and similar things have been happening at Boston Conservatory. In fact, I was hoping that somebody would send me the actual statistics of our incoming class, but I believe it's close to 40% of our incoming classes are people of color, and you know, the proof is in the pudding. It was time for the conservatory to really start, you know, figuring out ways to make the faculty look like our students as well. And just recently in the theater department, there's been a hire of at least five teachers that are of color, and we are so excited for our students to see, you know, have a Black teacher in the room, have a Black musical theater teacher, and they're thrilled about it too. But it's more than that, is listening to the students and seeing how they're feeling, and feeling like they're not only being represented by the faculty in the classroom, but being heard. So we've had many comfortable and uncomfortable conversations, and I think that's where it starts, and that's not where it's going to end for Boston Conservatory. It's a huge, huge problem in America, where people just you know, they put people in a box, and that's what you are, and that's all going to happen. That's what's going to happen for you, and it's time for that to change. And we recognize that, and I'm excited about what's happening at the conservatory right now. Actually, we all are. And last year it started with some conversations and doing workshops with faculty right at the beginning of the year, which I thought was an amazing way to start the year. So we're in there as an entire faculty trying to change what's happening. I'm sorry, that's my dog.
Don't worry, thank you. That's what we're looking for. I have a couple of guests to bring on, if that's okay. My engineer Johnny can bring them in.
Hello.
Hey.
Mark.
See?
Hey, great to see you, Nick, Wanu, and Darius, three of my favorite people on the planet. Great to see you.
What's going
So
on?
good to see you. It's been so long.
Thanks
Good
for
to
having
see
me.
you. Yeah.
Hi.
Everybody, this is Michelle from Boco. You see her there?
Yes.
And
Hi,
her dog.
Michelle.
Hi, Michelle. Darius.
Hi, all. I'd love to start with Nick. Nick, if
Yeah.
you could talk a little bit about your experience at Montclair and what you loved about the program.
Yeah, I mean, it was incredible. I would have to say my favorite part of the program. I was listening in on the stream before I joined, and Mark Hardy just talking about all
with
the
me there?
performance. Yeah, can you hear me?
I hear you, Nick.
You hear me? Yeah.
Yeah, you hear me?
Oh
yeah, good.
what,
Sorry about that.
yeah, you're good. What Mark Hardy was saying about all the performance opportunities, like just getting in there right from the first year. I was able to do a handful of shows, and whether it's from the smaller scale, like concerts that we do, or readings, to some of the industrial workshops when they bring in other people. I think just the variety and the opportunities that you have there is incredible. I'm sure Mark can back me up too.
We try to get people on stage as much as possible. And I think it's getting even better. We're doing more developmental work than we used to do, more new projects, more workshops. So
Exactly.
there's been more opportunities now, Nick. It's been kind of wonderful in the recent few years.
Hey everyone, I'm going to take over for a little bit because Danny's having some internet issues.
Oh no. Hey, Johnny.
Hey, what's up? Gonna miss you, class of 2020.
No.
Why don't we move on to Wanu? Tell us about your experience at Montclair and your favorite parts.
Montclair, it was actually not the first choice that I had. I had something else set out and then it didn't really work out. I ended up going to community college for my first semester and transferred in to Montclair the spring semester. And obviously you can't really like get into a musical theater program in the middle of the year. So I was able to kind of like jump in and take some elective like theater courses and dance classes and stuff like that before I joined the program to kind of get a taste, because I knew that's what I wanted to go for. And the program was like relatively young. It still is, but it was nice to be a part of something that was growing. And I didn't really have that much of a musical theater background. I just love to sing, I love to dance, I love to act. So Montclair was able to help lay that foundation. And then during the course of being at Montclair, also having the proximity of being so close to the city, having that in conjunction with the education that we were receiving at Montclair helped me in mounds that I didn't really, think of at the time. So also I want to state that working with the music school for learning about like music, I thought that was really great. Cali School of Music, and I learned so much about music there. It was great to be a part of a program that was growing and working with other parts of the department and kind of just like helping me to round myself out as a performer.
Love that. Moving on to my predecessor. Fun fact, me and Darius went to the same high school and college, but he always graduated a year before I got anywhere.
Stop it. You're a star, Johnny. And you can't do anything.
You're muted, Darius.
Am I?
Nope, we can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Oh,
Good.
I can't hear.
Just Montclair State. I can be on here for hours to talk about Montclair State, and having my awesome idols in front of me, Mark Hardy, Wanu, and Nick. It was. I don't know if you guys ever know this, but I was the only. I mean, I'm sure Mark knows, but I was the only Black person in my whole class. And with that being said, it was kind of. I just felt like a lot of pressure at times, not seeing more of us, if that makes sense. But Montclair State is just very very supportive with, like Mark said, that they're trying to get more programs and just, more ways in order to get more of us into the program. But they're very supportive with getting in just more people of color. But with that being said, Mark Hardy allowed me to play Macbeth in Three Penny Opera, and doing that show, I just never thought I would be that role, I also was told I can never be in West Side Story, having to do West Side Story, not as a, as a shark, but as a jet. And Montclair State, they give you that confidence that you can step outside of a stereotypical role. I don't have to be in ragtime. I don't have to be in The Wiz. And I found that I found that foundation through Montclair State, and I'm just internally grateful. I could be here for hours talking about Montclair. If you are looking at Montclair, please highly consider Montclair as one of your choices for MT.
Can you guys talk a little bit, starting with each and either one of you, because all three of you have been on Broadway, which is awesome. Just about how you think, what is the number one thing that Montclair prepared you for moving forward into your professional career?
The real world.
Yeah, and making those connections. I think they start off right from the beginning, making sure that you do your networking. They bring in the people to help you start that. They tell you to get on those platforms, build your website. That was a huge thing. Get on your social media, start networking, get to the audition, since we had that opportunity to be so close to the city.
Yeah, definitely piggybacking off of what Nick said, networking is a big deal, especially like where we have the prime thing of like being right outside, but not really being immersed in it. And we had a lot of guest directors come in and direct our shows or choreograph or whatever. And keeping those connections was, really important, and learning what it's like to work with people who have worked on Broadway or who have worked professionally. That was like a really big deal being in college.
They also bring in a lot of like Mark was talking about earlier, the new works and people who may be up and coming. For example, we did the A.G. Evans project with Rachel Chafkin, who now is like huge, incredible. And I did that freshman year. So it's like they really support you to create this art and meet all types of different people from all over the industry.
Yeah.
There was one opportunity that I wish the three of us could have been a part of.
Darius, I can't hear anything.
You can't hear me? Can you guys hear me?
We can hear you.
I'm just saying, I personally can't. I can't hear anything that Darius is saying. I love you though.
I love you too. Where Mark Hardy, Clay, and just the whole program allowed you guys to audition for summer stock. And that was a great tool, a great resource to, like Nick and Wanu said, to make connections before, the summertime to get EMC points. And I also forgot to mention about the great cast of theater. Even though we don't get EMC points there, you can still put that under regional, like a regional house, because that's a regional house, you know what I mean? And having that was also a blessing for all of us at the MSU program.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, one more question from our audience that I have for each of you. How easy was it for you to do things outside of the musical theater program at Montclair State, whether it be another club or anything else that you participated in?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was pretty easy. Montclair seemed pretty flexible with your extracurriculars and making sure that you were able to go to those clubs and things like that. For example, like I'm really huge into tech, and I was able to work at the help desk and do that, which like I know a lot of people probably don't find that exciting, but being able to like work on computers and do my love for technology while still being able to rehearse, and then being understanding that I also had other things in my life that I had to do. they were always very flexible with that, which was great.
I feel like I didn't have any school, but I will say that the program was really encouraging about working outside of school and like, you know, auditioning outside of school. Like obviously we had to show up for classes and stuff like that. Like, you know, pretty much when you're in a conservatory or conservatory style program, like you're like living, eating, breathing, sleeping this. And but like Montclair was really encouraging with allowing us to audition in the city. And like there were people who worked and maybe did a tour, or even Nick, he went away for a hot second and did a show regionally and came back. And like, you know, they were just really good about us going out and like, you know, learning is not just about the educational or like the book, you know, the academic aspect of learning. Experience is also really important. And I feel like Montclair was really encouraging with that and welcoming when we would come back. And yeah.
So well said, Wanu. Yeah, totally.
I love that Mark Hardy and Clay will always tell us.
Darius, can you sign language?
I know. Tell us to go to the gym. And I would literally go to the gym. I went to the gym probably almost 6 days a week, especially when we got into hair, because nudity, off the record. But Montclair just has so many, you know, different streams of just like, you could also do the drama club plays. You could also you could join clubs at the library. There's just so many different routes that you can go in, other than just, you know, being within the musical theater, you know, family.
That life hall life.
It just you know, Montclair is just. I think of Montclair like a smaller Rutgers, but perfect size, because it just has. I feel like it has everything, you know, for you. You won't be bored. If you just want to be in your dorm room, you could be in your dorm room studying your music, your lines, etc. But Montclair, I don't know. It's just a place to be. No offense to you, Michelle, because I have a lot of great friends from Boco and they love it.
Well, awesome. Thank you guys so much for joining us. I got your social media handles. If you want to follow Darius, it's at Darius Jordan Lee. Miss Wanu is on the Twitter at This Is Wanu, and Nick Edwards is at Nick Edwards NYC. Thank you so much for you guys joining us today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good to see y'all.
Good to see you all.
We're back, and I'm going to keep running this live stream for the rest of the stream. How exciting.
You're doing great.
Yes.
You're doing great.
All right, let me ask you guys a question. So this question has to deal with actually being inside of the school once you get into the program. It's asking, can you double major in acting and vocal performance, or minor in vocal, or just add another major or minor at your school?
At the conservatory, as a theater major, you basically are. It's almost like you are taking a major in each one of those. The dance department, the people that are teaching you dance are all dancers. We're all, you're basically trained as a dance major, as a voice major, and as an acting major. So I'm not sure, you wouldn't have a minor in that, but we do have minors in psychology and other more academic courses. But in the theater department, you, as a theater major, you are definitely studying as though you have 3 majors within the theater department. And then there's also contemporary theater. So that's a very strong acting program that you don't have the same courses that you have to take as you do in musical theater. You don't have to take the voice classes, but they are available to you if you wanted to do that. Does that answer the question?
Absolutely.
Yeah, similarly, you know, our program is so saturated already in acting, voice and music and dance. There would be no way to double major. Now, I say that we've had a couple of students double major in dance, but that requires an extra year and a lot of courses that are outside our degree. So that is a possibility, though you have to be a superhuman. We've had students occasionally do a BFA in musical theater and another major, but it almost always takes extra time. It's pretty hard to do in 4 years. certain minors, like we have a makeup certificate, which some people are doing now because it connects them to some Broadway makeup work and things like that. Entrepreneurship is a very hot minor for us, business, psychology. So minoring is more possible, but to do any of that, you have to be an exceptional student and an exceptional time manager. Because as Jonathan or any grad would tell you, and I'm sure it's the same at BOCO, you're so scheduled. You would have to do that work over winter break in the summer. It's very hard to lay that in on top of all of your acting, singing, and dance classes.
By junior year, our students start choosing their emphasis, which is sort of like, you know, choosing another degree or a minor. They audition for dance emphasis, acting emphasis. Actually, all the students get acting emphasis during their senior year, but you can have songwriting, which starts junior year. Basically, if you can dream it and you find a faculty member who will be your support, you can create your own emphasis at the conservatory, which is a really cool thing, because we've had students that, you know, that come from strong country singing, you know, background and decide that they want to cut a record while they're at the school, and using the Berklee facilities, they can do some pretty cool stuff over there. And we have people that decide that they want to go into playwriting, and there are two programs at the conservatory where students are directing and writing and running their own theater programs within the conservatory. Also, just to hop on before, when you're saying, is it easy to go outside and get work at the conservatory in Boston, we're so lucky that we have so many outside theater programs that our students are working there, not only as actors, but they're doing some choreography and doing outside performances is pretty easy to do here, which is great. And a lot of them can get their equity cards through that work before they move to New York.
That's awesome. All right, well, Michelle, we have a couple of guests that I would like to bring on that are alumni of your program. Hello.
What's up? What's up?
And hi, Constantine.
Hi there, Steph, Michelle,
How are
gentlemen.
you?
I have
How are
a
you
dog too, you know.
How are you guys doing today?
It is pouring. It is just absolutely pouring. I ran to the car to get my headphones. And I got stuck in the rain, which was great and refreshing, and my lawn needed it. But I hope there's no latency issues here. But I'm glad to be with you.
Awesome.
And I'm in Vermont. I just kind of escaped here for the week, and it's just absolutely beautiful in the mountains. So that's me.
Awesome. Can the two of you, anyone can start first, just tell me a little bit about your experience at Boston Conservatory and your favorite parts about it.
Oh, we lost it. Go ahead, Constantine. You go first.
Sorry, I'm cutting in and out there.
Ooh.
Uh-oh.
Oh, no.
I'll go first.
Awesome.
I'll go first. So, hello, everyone. I graduated Boston Conservatory in 2008. I absolutely loved my time there. You know, it was before the merger with Berklee, so I would say the school was probably structured a little differently than it is now, but you perform outside of the school and also, you know, perform inside of the school and take classes. It was a great time. And what I really, really love about Boston is that its proximity to New York City. And also that there's so much, as it's a beautiful, vibrant theater community there within the city as well. So there's just so many learning opportunities. And then also you have something like, what is it, Michelle, like 20 other universities and schools in the surrounding, in Boston?
I think it's closer to 200.
I mean, that is amazing. And so there's just so many opportunities around the city to learn and to grow as an artist. And I just loved it.
Awesome. What about you, Constantine?
I'm back. Very well said, Stephanie, for sure. You know, I was born in Brooklyn. I grew up in North Jersey. I was a sort of a non-traditional student. I had worked in the field for a few years, played in bands, did a bunch of theater and whatnot, and was hustling around. And I didn't get to the school until 22 or 23 years old. Ended up on a sort of shorter scheduled plan there. And I think it was the first year they had instituted the Pro Arts program, which was incredible. You were able to not only take a full course load at the conservatory, but take classes at Berklee, Northeastern, you know, the other schools around. I even did a summer at BU, catching up on some credits. I probably spread myself out too thin in doing so much of the professional work available in Boston and whatnot, and still managing to get a lot of stage time. I was lucky to be in a, I don't know, I guess that sort of leading man field or group where I got a lot of stage time. So I just loved my experience there. And yes, you know, kind of getting a few years in a metropolitan area in a great city like Boston, even as a born New Yorker, it really helped me with the transition back to the city and the work ahead, for sure.
Awesome.
And of course, taking ballet with Michelle, something I'll never forget. Ever.
I'll never forget it either. It's so hard.
And I probably should have focused a little bit more there as well. But, you know, I think there's so many great programs out there. And we, of course, are big fans of BOCO and Berklee and the whole Boston area. I think it's really about like what you make these programs. There's so much talent in every program and so many great faculty members from different backgrounds. And it's really like an opportunity on a singing TV show like I had and whatnot. It's really about what you make of the opportunity, how you can sort of, I don't know, take the knowledge from people way more talented than you and way more experienced and turn it into a 5-year plan, a 10-year plan. You know, like anything, it's just, you know, get an opportunity and go with it, but you got to do the work for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Can you guys tell me about your vibe at Boston Conservatory, about the friends that you made, how your classes work, your class size, and that sort of thing?
Sure. When I was there from 2004 to 2008, I had about 10 people to a core. So we split up the class into cores. And at that time, I'd only have 30-something people in my class, my graduating class. So we were down to 10 people in each core. And that core, you're together for the entire year. And why that's so beautiful is that you really get to trust each other. And you get to really know each other in intimate. And can you hear me okay?
I can. There's a little bit of crackling, but.
Is that better?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay. Sorry. Okay. Sorry. I don't know why it's doing that. That's so weird. Anyway, I'll fix it when Constantine talks. So you get to know each other, you trust each other, and you know, it's really beautiful. So you come out of the school very, very close with people. You shared a lot of secrets. You shared, you know, moments that you're very vulnerable, you know, and for the first time sometimes in your young adult life. And I still have some of my best friends from that school. I mean, I'm still close at the age of 34 with people I graduated with, and we speak almost every day. So that's a beautiful thing that came out of that conservatory.
Awesome.
Yeah, for sure. I have some very, very close friends still from school, the bonds, the adventures that we all went on and went through. Some people we've lost along the way. Certainly you're bonded forever. And you know, I don't know. That's just maybe something with my life. I'm still very close to my kindergarten class, so I keep them around like luggage. I don't know. we're all just very close in the New Jersey town I grew up in, and similarly, my friends at Boston and a lot of my career friends. I just think there's something just beautiful about our community overall, and I'd like to think, support each other, lift each other up, and a lot of us, what I do tell young people is the numbers are not in your favor to have a great career in this business on the stage, and certainly, starring in shows. What I'd rather see them become is the well-rounded performing artist, entrepreneur, someone that can survive on and off stage, front of house, whatnot. There's a myriad of amazing jobs. I mean, our community has grown by exponentially by literally billions and billions of dollars every year. So it's wonderful to have that time at school and work on our art and our craft, but think ahead. The likelihood of you having a successful career as a performing artist are slim to none, and but it's a beautiful experience that you can transition into any field. But our field alone is so huge, and there's so many great jobs, from teaching to producing and designing and whatnot. And at a program like ours at Boston, at BOCO, they do emphasize the well-rounded individual. Oh, that's the landline. Must be getting the facts. Sorry. Just, you caught me at a crazy time. My record came out today, by the way, so it's a crazy day. There's a lot of phones ringing and stuff. Thank you. Pick it up all over the place, streaming everywhere. My new record, Until I'm Wanted. So I actually named the record after sort of the kind of blue collar attitude that they taught in Boston. Like, I'm gonna keep pushing until you want me, until I'm at the table. So I think that's what we love, and why we're such proud alumni overall.
I think part of the beauty of having the cohort system is that you fall in love with your cohort every year, and it changes a little bit, so you're not working with the same people every year. Can you hear me okay?
I can. We're getting like a weird sound issue that's happening right now. I don't really know why. Oh, there it goes. Yeah.
So I'm sure, I think when people think I'm going to the Boston Conservatory, it's a big program. I don't believe that the students feel it's a big program because of the size of the cohorts. I think that they get really close to a group, and then when they move on to the next cohort, they still choose to still be in love with the people they were in love with before, and move on to maybe learn from other people, which is way more realistic. And New York cannot agree with the same 10 people.
Absolutely. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us, Stephanie and Constantine. I went ahead and I pulled your social media, so if anybody wants to follow you, I know that Constantine had his album come out. Congratulations. You can follow him on Instagram, and you can follow Steph at Umoh. Thank you guys so much for joining.
Thank you all.
Good to see you.
Gentlemen, be safe. Michelle, I love you. I'll call you soon. Be good.
Love you. Talk to you soon. Bye.
Awesome, and we're back. I have more questions for you guys. Our YouTube has been blowing up while the students were on. So this question is from Juan Madero on YouTube. He asks, how is the conservatory experience at Boston different from a traditional college experience?
Well, I think the conservatory experience just means that you're really going to spend the majority of your classes are going to be within the conservatory. So you'll take, instead of just taking a nondescript maybe history class, you're going to take the history of theater, or you'll take a drag course, or you'll take a liberal arts course that's about an artist's guide to transitioning through the world. So the conservatory courses are going to be more based on what you're going to do in the profession of music, dance, or theater, versus a university which might have more generic titles in their courses. But again, because of our affiliation at Boston Conservatory, you can take classes through Berklee. You can take classes through the Pro Arts Consortium. So you have many, many opportunities. If you're like dying for that calculus class. I'm sure we can find a way for you to get over to MIT and take a class there. But in general, you won't have to take a calculus class.
Awesome. And Mark, do you want to talk about this, the style of teaching at our school?
Yeah, and I'll just tag team on Michelle there for a moment. We are, just full disclosure, we are a liberal arts university, but like all the BFA in voice and dance and musical theater and acting, the musical theater BFA is the lowest gen ed load in the university. It's, I think, now down to 18 hours. And there are a lot of things that people want to take, like American Sign Language can count as your foreign language credit. World Dance can count as your world cultures credit. So most theater students tend to take the gen eds that relate to their discipline. But you know, some people want a pure conservatory, and that's great. Some people want what we are, which is more of a conservatory inside of a liberal arts package. That's why there are different great programs for the student who wants something a little different. In terms of teaching style at Montclair, classes are very small. As any alum would tell you, get on Facebook, ask them, don't just believe me. You're going to have small classes. You're going to know your advisor intimately. You're going to, well, not intimately, not like that. I mean, you're going to be very involved with your advisor. Your advisor is going to know when you've missed ballet for the second time, and they're going to call you, right, Jonathan?
Sure.
So it's very hands-on in terms of the program, but very hands-off in terms of your private life. Unless you need help with something, then you can come to us. We'll probably, do what we can, but it's very nurturing and very rigorous at the same time. As I said, we don't cut students. We very rarely lose more than one student per class, and that's almost always because the student chooses to change majors or leave school. So we're really engaged with every student as an individual all 4 years.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'll jump on with Mark on that too. When you get accepted to the conservatory, we want you to graduate from the conservatory. There is no cut system, and we take you in because we see something there, and we want to honor that for the time that you're here. So
awesome. Our next question is from Danny Allen on Facebook, and he asks, how do you select your shows?
Well, this year with our new dean, we did a very different process. It was really exciting. We actually sat at this big, huge oval table, and we had monthly meetings, and we wanted to make sure that, voices that haven't necessarily been heard are going to be heard. So it was just, first of all, we went through everything that we've done and listed it for the past 20 years or so, and said, okay, now who are some of the voices that we haven't heard enough from? Have we heard enough from Black writers? Have we heard enough from female writers, composers? And so we started looking at different plays and musicals that we wanted to start including in the future. And that's how I think it's going to stick like that. It was a really great process that we got to hear from everybody too. It wasn't just, people that are only teaching musical theater or musical theater dance. You were hearing from the liberal arts department. You were hearing from different parts of the conservatory. So we weren't just saying oh, that looks like a fun musical, let's throw this up here. We wanted to make sure that a lot of people's voices are going to be heard in the future.
Michelle, I celebrate that. And I think any program that isn't doing something like that right now is really going to be in trouble artistically in every way. I think all of us feel a real responsibility now to re-examine what we think of as the canon and what we're asking students to play. So we've kind of pulled our whole season apart, made a lot of changes, are really changing the way we look at properties. But what we have always done is to try to give students the biggest point spread in terms of style every year. So we try to cover a lot of periods, a lot of genres, a lot of styles in every single year, so that hopefully in 4 years you've run the gamut. And as I said earlier, we're doing a lot more new work, which is exciting. And so it's a little unpredictable from year to year how that's going to shape shift, but that's part of the exciting dynamism of our industry right now. It's changing daily. And all of us, any program with a conscience is trying to respond to those changes very rapidly.
Awesome. We have a few people asking, do you have a senior showcase? And if you do, can you explain what that looks like?
I'll be quick. We do. We have a really successful senior showcase, and ours involves several months of classes and workshops. We bring in casting directors, and some agency people to the campus well before the showcase. There's a lot of one-on-one coaching, a lot of group feedback, and then we do the showcase on Theater Row in New York every year. In the last several years, standing room only, completely sold out. So we feel really good about the way we're doing showcase, and our students are getting signed. I mean, in your class, Jonathan, it was like a 75-80% signing rate.
Yeah, showcase didn't even really happen. Like everything got canceled the day that showcase happened. That was
yeah. We were lucky to get in this year, just the luck of the draw. But yeah, we're still, a lot of people are considering pulling back, but we're not, because it seems better and better every year.
Yeah, very similar to what you do as well. We have we split our class into two different groups. So let's say it's an A and a B group, and so each group that performs twice in New York, which is great. So each group gets two showcases, and then the casting directors and agents can choose if they want to go A in the morning and B in the evening, or A, B right in the middle of the day. So they can kind of make their day however they want to do it to make it as successful as it can be. And again, like you, it's standing room. Some of the parents sometimes want to sneak in, and we're like, wait a minute, you can't go in there. And we also have our proximity to New York makes it very easy for casting directors to come and do workshops through the entire second semester. And Showcase is actually a class for musical theater students for the second semester. Starts in the first semester, second semester, we start working on Showcase. And then for the people that are in dance emphasis, they also get to do, we call them dance pop-ups, where they don't have to sing while they're doing it, because some of them are really concert dancers as well. So we're doing like all the crazy lifts and the partnering with that too. And that's also in our Showcase. Because they are musical theater majors, but I guess the biggest compliment is when, our students they say, are they dance majors? And I'm like, no, they're musical theater majors, but you know what? We have to be able to do it all. So it's kind of fun to see that too.
Absolutely. Another question that we're getting a lot of, talk about the financial aid at your school, because that's always a big point for students.
Well, we're able to offer students in the performing arts in-state tuition across the board. So that's become like a scholarship to us, because New Jersey in-state tuition is not bad at all. We're getting more scholarships every year, but because we're a public state university in a state without a lot of funding for higher education right now, we struggle with that. We have about 3 discretionary scholarships, just to be completely open. But if there are also some Dean's Merit scholarships, and a lot of other scholarships become available once you are enrolled. But across the board, we can offer out-of-state students in-state tuition.
BOCO is expensive, it really is. And so most of the people that come here really have to hope for scholarships, and they're mostly based on your merit, your talent scholarship. But we always say to people, make sure you're filling out your FAFSA, do all of that before, because you don't know what you need until you start seeing the numbers rolling in. If you don't have all that information, then you might miss out on a lot of opportunities for scholarships. So get all of that stuff done before you even start thinking of showing up at schools and auditioning. It's just going to be one thing that you can, just kind of keep track of, make sure that's always up to date. But we have a presidential scholarship. We have a number of named scholarships because we are a private school. And a number of our students, a large number of our students get scholarship money. That's, honestly, for most people, it's the only way that they can come to the conservatory. But get that FAFSA in, be on top of things, because you don't want to be scrambling at the last second and worrying yourself for no reason.
For sure. My final question for the both of you is, how should students prepare for the audition at your school? And what are some tips and advice that you give for students that are nervous in the room, or maybe they think that they are going to bomb the dance audition, any type of thing like that?
Johnny, how did you feel in the dance audition?
I loved it. I always say, and no offense to my lovely Montclair State alma mater, I always say that my favorite dance call in my audition process was at BOCO, because you made it feel very excellent and warming. And I learned a lot in that like hour and a half dance audition that I had in taking like 5 dance classes like in high school.
Well, thank you. I'm glad. I want everybody to feel comfortable when they come in, because I know that a lot of people haven't studied, like, formally studied dance. I know it's hard because when you're in high school, you're thinking, how many shows can I be in? So to try to also put a dance program on top of that, a lot of people are just like, it's impossible or it's too expensive. So when you come into the dance call with me, I just really want to see that you're willing to give it a shot. Just try. Some of it's going to look foreign, but it's totally fine. That's where we're here. We're here to learn. We're here to see. I want to see that you have like a good sense of humor. If you really suck at something, oh well, you know what? You have somewhere to go with it. Isn't that an amazing thing to think about? That in 4 years, where could you be? And for the people that are strong dancers, then I also want them to know they're going to be challenged the whole time that they're going to be there too. So they're not going to be in a class where they're feeling like they're being, held back. They're going to be pushed forward. So that's what I want people to get out of the dance call. Come in. I'm going to watch you standing on the side watching each other. I'm going to watch you. I have you do like a little improv, because I want you to be able to go out there and say like, yeah, I can do an amazing worm. That's not probably going to be in my choreography. So watching people do the worm or something is, just to show me a sense of who you are. And then for the formal, like the ballet portion, again, just you have the world at your fingertips, I would say, for students right now. And you have the ability to go and just like, what are the 5 basic ballet positions? Like, I always say, like, be the smartest person in the room. Try to do your homework a little bit before you go in. And that means just watching, a video of something that's simple, and do it. And then for the musical theater dance, I want you to be able to tell a story, because for me, it's all about the acting. If you're not telling a story, then why is it in the show? There's no reason. Cut it out, right? There's no reason for it. So if you're not furthering the plot, there's no reason for you to be doing it. When you walk into the singing and acting room, they want you to be you. They don't want you to be somebody that you think you should be. They want you to be you. They want you to be doing age-appropriate songs and monologues. And again, just walk in. We want you to be somebody who we want to hang out with, not go have cocktails with, but that we want to have in a room, that we want to be like, 8 hours later, do we still like each other during this rehearsal? Because you're just a good, open person. That's kind of fun to be around too. Yeah? Yeah,
for sure. Mark.
And I'll add, I think for us, certainly for me, the most important thing you can do is really dig into material that represents you. Don't choose your songs based on how high you want to sing. Don't choose your songs based on what you love other people doing, but find material, songs, monologues that really represent who you are, that you can live inside of, because that will cut through a lot of nerves. You don't set unrealistic expectations of yourself, but choose stuff that you can really sail into, and that you love so much you could sing in the middle of a hailstorm and be happy about it. And then really prepare, really go back to the basics. It's amazing how many people come in to sing for us and they leave the acting out in the hallway somewhere, right, either because they're nervous or probably more often because they haven't actually prepared that part. They prepared it vocally and then they kind of vaguely perform a mood. So really do your homework as a singer or an actor and find material that you can live inside of.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for joining me today on our Playbill Live. I'm going to put up your so people can follow you. If you want to follow Boston Conservatory on Instagram and Twitter, they're at Boston Conservatory. And if you want to follow Montclair State, we are on Instagram at Montclair State MT. Thank you guys so much for joining us. It was a pleasure.
It's great to be with you. Thank you.
Good to see you, Mark.
Well, thank you everybody for joining us again. You can follow us at Playbill and at The Growing Studio. Join us on Monday where we'll have Andrew Lippa at 1 p.m. On Wednesday, we'll have Alex Lackamore. And on Friday, we'll have Ithaca University and Syracuse University. Thanks so much for watching.